The Violent Roots of Schools, a Dvar Torah for Parashat Yitro. The most common command method in the world is based on one sentence. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. And this will be my motto this week. 2 words and a single unrelated commentary have led me to this week's inquiry. In the commandment that Moshe receives regarding the restriction around Har Sinai, it says, "No hand shall touch it, for he shall surely be stoned or shot through. Whether it is animal or man, he shall not live." The great resemblance between the Hebrew phrase for shot, יירה, and the Hebrew word for my teaching profession, הוראה, left me at this point in a panic. Are the two really connected? Wikidictionary tried to reassure me and say this root should be divided into 2 separate roots. These roots evolved from different sources, or their teachings have been largely removed from each other, as did Radak in the Book of Roots, also separating the 2 forms of the root יירה with the words "and another manner," meaning that there is no need to compare teachers to shooters. But I do think that there might be a connection between the 2, flowing in 2 different directions. The first will be learned from the teacher to the shooter, and the other vice versa. When the Tanakh teaches us about Shaul's last war, Shaul's fear is described as "Vayimtzeuhu hamorim anashim bakeshet, vayachel meod mehamorim," which in modern Hebrew would mean Shaul feared the teachers who used the bow. And although Shaul's fear is probably different than the fear the average student has from his teachers, at least those who don't use markers as ballistic missiles, the use of the word here made me think that a bow shot may be so named יירה because of the need to teach or lehorot where it needs to be fired to. On the other hand, it says that King Yoash did what was right in the eyes of God all the days that Yehoyada, the priest Horahu, taught him. Although not really successful, as can be seen in Divrei Yamim, he tried to teach the young king how to act also after he was no longer there at his side. Perhaps someone like an archer who shoots his arrow to a distance. And what about the root of the word preceding shooting? What about skila, right? It says, sakol yisakel o yaro yiyare. To my great shame, despite being raised an English speaker, I needed the commentary of Rabbi Chizkiah bar Manoach, who brings a parable to a king whose son was frail and whose teacher said he should be sent to iskula, to get my associative muscle, asking, is there a connection between the word in English, school, with parallels in Greek, Latin, German, Russian, French, and more, to the Hebrew word skila? And wonder of wonders, when searching for the source of the English word school in the context of a group of fish swimming together, the online etymology dictionary mentions that the source may be related to the fact that the fish cut or separate the water. And how exactly does this have anything to do with stoning, I hear you ask, as indeed I asked myself? Wonderful question, I will answer you and me. And after some thought, I replied to myself that perhaps, only perhaps, the act of stoning is called skila, not due to the stone that strikes the niskal, rather because it leaves the hand of the sokel, that is, separation. And before you stone me for this unfounded statement, compare this, for example, with the vineyard of Ishaya, vayeazkehu vayesaklehu, that is the act of removing or separating the stone from a field. And when it comes to education, perhaps the purpose of the educator, according to this, is to remove the obstacles the student is unable to face, and not to throw chalk, for those who remember what it is, at unsuspecting students. And I won't even try to deal with David's statement, "Hamelamed yadai lakrav etzbeotai lamilchama." And maybe I was too much of a pacifist and should have used instead the verse, "Chosech shivto soneh bno," but these are my insights into the violent roots of schools. If you've learned something this week, you're more than welcome to subscribe, pass it on to a friend, or press the like button. As always, I am Dovi Holtz, one who loves Tanakh.